Welcome everyone to Lost Under Review, your resident anti-professionals at your service. I am Dave.
And I'm Marcus.
And we just saw the Power Rangers.
Go, go, Power Rangers! I admit, I went into this movie probably like some other people did that watched it with my expectations set extremely low. Because I saw the trailer and I'm like, you are not trying to pull a fan four-stick and a freaking Chronicle and make it a movie about the Power Rangers. I'm not feeling this already because the trailers, they don't do this movie justice. I think we need to go into a little bit more detail about that, which we clearly don't have time for. But first and foremost, let's talk about the story.
Yes.
Okay, this is an origin story, as you know.
As it's clearly been illustrated in the trailers and all the material, this is origin story of the Power Rangers.
Yeah, and they actually went into a little bit more detail about the characters, a little bit about their backstories and how they came together, which still is weird and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but for the purposes of a 2-hour movie, it has to.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I actually kind of enjoyed it. Okay, so the Power Rangers, they used to exist long ago. Yeah. And then Rita Repulsa apparently was one of the original Rangers, and she portrayed the team, and they all got blasted to hell and back, except for Zordon, who was the original Red Ranger.
Of course he was the Red Ranger. I was sitting there going, yeah, of course you were the Red Ranger. No, you weren't like the Blue Ranger. Like, just the side ranger who got like promoted at the end. No, you're the freaking Red Ranger. Zordon... Screw you, Rick. No wonder he has favoritism towards the Red Rangers.
You're not going to tell Heisenberg he can't be the Red Ranger, okay? You're just not. Seriously, he said, he's going to be like, who am I? The Red Ranger. You're goddamn right.
I am the one who morphs.
Seriously, we have to give it up for the acting team for this because the teenagers acted... as well as they're going to act for the role that they're in. They pretty much fit that role pretty well. They didn't go too far out of range. They didn't seem too unrealistic. Of course, Bryan Cranston hits a home run in just about everything he's in, because he's just Bryan Cranston. Yes. He goes from being the dad from Malcolm in the Middle to that guy. You know what I mean?
He's literally playing a role where you take one of those little, like, pin toys that you stick your face on and then have an imprint of your face. You have a whole wall of that, and he's just sticking his face in the wall the entire time, and it's just, well, cool, good for you, look at that.
Exactly.
And it still looks pretty awesome. But I can't stop thinking about that toy the entire time I'm seeing him. Like, I had one of those when I was a kid. You know, create a handprint, create a face print. Never comes out exactly right, but it's close. And it always sticks you in the eye. And
I've had that problem, too. Oh, my God. but the thing is, the most important one that we have to bring up is Rita Repulsa, a.k.a. Elizabeth Banks, who I was thinking to myself, Elizabeth Banks cast as Rita Repulsa. Yeah, that's the first thought. That was a good idea.
Why not?
And then when I watched it, I was like, it was a good idea. She was hamming that shit up. It was great. Rita Repulsa went up there and went ham in the situation, and I'm like, thank you, Elizabeth Banks, for being that actress who enjoyed doing this role so obviously that the audience are literally absorbed into your performance.
Yeah, she has to. There's no way they can make another one without her. They have to get her back because she was so good.
I know.
She was every second that she was on the screen.
Exactly. You know what it reminds me of? Did you ever see the Snow White movies? The live action ones. There was the one that was the serious one that had Chris Hemsworth and it was Snow White and the Huntsman. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I saw that, and Charlize Theron was supposed to be the evil witch or whatever, the queen, and it was great because she was hamming that shit up too. Yeah. And even though the movie itself, in my opinion, was a mess, she was the best thing in that movie. But see,
get a mini Snow White review in our Power Rangers review.
Exactly.
You got your Snow White and my Power Rangers.
What's going on? It's just insanity. But no, the point is, Elizabeth Banks went in that performance and owned that shit. I don't have that much to wear. I've got a weird character whose motivations are murky at best. But I'm going to go out there and I'm going to sell it. And sold it she did.
She did.
She was had the mugging faces, the weird cackling, the awkward movements, and then there was the Dunkin' Donuts.
The Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
Get your product placements right.
Right.
But, I mean, this movie, the whole plot of the movie was basically a Final Fantasy game. Her trying to get a crystal that, once she gets it, will destroy the world. She is Kefka in this freaking movie. I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is a Final Fantasy plot. This is all Final Fantasy. Every Final Fantasy game has that one crystal that if the bad guy gets the crystal, it's game over. And you have to fight him. I was just waiting for, like, Cloud Strife or someone to just show up at the end.
With a giant sword and a mopey.
Just screaming, Aris! She's not even in this movie. Neither are you. What the hell?
So, of course, Bryan Cranston's character is betrayed, and he's the last Ranger left, so he hides the equivalent of the morphers in this, the Zeo crystals.
Yeah.
You know, for the new generation to find these crystals and to get these kids. And let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. The Abercrombie models turned Power Rangers.
Yeah, I told you they didn't try to go out of their way to be something that they weren't, so I'll give them that. But it was silly how all the circumstances, just how the stars just aligned for these 5 kids to find these things, and it was just weird. And I wanted to address this most importantly. Yeah. For people who have seen the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV show or any other media, it's cringeworthy at best, embarrassing, and almost ready to walk out of the seats at worst. But seriously, stick with it, because it just gets better.
Yeah.
I have to say, because it's like the acting was just. It was just all over the place. Yeah. But I'll give them credit. They actually did what they were supposed to do with it. It's just when you see certain things in there, like, oh no, he did not do that. That was not even terribly entertaining. You'll find yourself saying this a lot.
Yeah. Every like from like it's morphin time to grow my creatures. Like it's everything is in this movie.
Yes, they stuck it in there. They shoehorned certain things in there, and they're supposed to make it seem like it's just the best thing ever. Yeah. And it just comes off as just weird and awkward. Like, God, you could have left that out. So even when they said it's morphin time, it's supposed to be like all dramatic. It's supposed to be the build-up to them finally getting their suits. And, going out there, it's morphin time. And I'm like...
I just wanted Billy to look at him like, really, dude?
I know!
Seriously? You said that?
I was waiting on someone to say that. It's grown worthy. The effects are actually as good as modern effects are. So you shouldn't expect any sort of realism. You shouldn't expect to say, hey, oh my God, that robot is actually sitting in front of me. Wow, that is actually a giant robot out there. There are a bunch of rocks killing people. Oh wow, these special effects are blowing my mind. Yeah. No, it's not better than what you think. In fact, some people may even think it's worse.
Yeah.
But it did what it needed to do.
It's on the same level of like effects like all the Transformers movies,
maybe a
Ninja Turtles movies.
Yeah,
like, you've seen those. You know what effects you're getting out of this.
You've seen it. I mean, explosions, giant robots.
Yeah.
Weird stuff happening. It's fine. I mean, I kind of like how the kids got together. I mean, it was like a bunch of kids who didn't know each other, and you finally get a little bit on how they started getting along or whatever. Say, okay, I see how you did it. I'm glad that actually made more sense here.
Yeah. Some of the jokes in the movie, I was kind of like thrown back by. Like, I'm not joking here. Literally, not even 5 minutes into the movie, there is a joke about a guy jacking off a cow.
Oh, yeah, that was towards the beginning of the film.
And that's not even 5 minutes in. And I'm like, oh, this is what we're in for. A guy jacking off a cow.
Well, it didn't go in that direction entirely. I really thought it was going to go in that direction. It's like, oh, and so this is their idea of the more mature Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah, a guy jacking off a cow.
Woohoo, he jacked off a cow. Wow, Nelly. But, it's stuff like that. But some of the parts were actually quite good, though. Yeah. Like, I like when Jason actually first gets to that detention class or whatever, and he just bitch slaps that guy. And I'm like, damn!
Yeah, who was that bully, though? Like, was he Bulk, Skull? A combination of Bulk and Skull?
I wanted to talk about that. That's what that movie needed. It was a Bulk and Skull. We didn't get a Bulk and Skull.
We had unnamed bully.
Unnamed redhead jerk.
Yeah.
And that's what he was, because he kept picking on Billy.
Yeah.
And it's funny how they did it. But he shows up and he's like trying to punch him. He's like, "You're pathetic." You know, Jason tells him how pathetic he is. He starts swinging at him in the most haphazard swings ever, not even really going forward, just kind of doing this number here. Yeah, and then you know Jason's dodging him, and then he just bitch slaps him. Like, I was like, "Oh, Jason's pimp hand is strong, loud." That's what I'm talking about. I was like, "Oh, he can't show his face anymore." I mean, every time that redheaded kid comes out, he's gonna be literally the redheaded stepchild. Because he got bitch slapped in the glass where everybody can see it.
But no, the bully comes back after Billy gets his powers, tries to pick on Billy, and then Billy just knocks him out without even lifting a finger.
You know what would have been a better resolution? If he showed up and then Billy just turns to him and he's like, "You know what? Where's your bodyguard?" Because that's what he says. Yeah. He literally says that line. My God, where's your bodyguard? And then this is what I would have done. I would have been like, "Dude, did you just get bitch slapped?" At that point, he would have hung his head in shame and walked away.
No.
That's how I would have done that.
That is not what we got, though.
No.
Guy tries to headbutt Billy and knocks himself out.
Who wins with a headbutt?
Yeah, who goes for that?
They've done headbutts twice in this movie, and they've all failed. Yeah. That proves nobody, with the exception of Batman, can win with a headbutt. Yes. Okay?
I mean,
I know wrestlers that don't try that shit because they know better.
Yeah.
You know?
This movie was literally pretty much the story equivalent of Spider-Man meets Iron Man, and they make the same reference. So they were very aware of what they were doing.
They were aware of it.
They made that exact reference.
I felt the movie was on some level a little too self-aware at times, which takes you out of the fantasy of trying to believe, oh wow, they're remaking Power Rangers. Holy cow. Yeah. And these kids, they're like, I have to admit, I think that was one of the best performances I've seen of teenagers because these guys were kind of assholes.
Yeah,
like all of them. They didn't go out of their way to make them seem like they were just genuinely good people, except for maybe Billy.
But Billy was more of just like an innocent, like they just got stuck into this.
He's just a nice guy, and they did that part well. But they made everyone else kind of assholes. And I'm like, wow, that makes sense for your average 17-year-old. Because seriously. Like,
assholes.
I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, I'm not even going to deny it. I mean, hell, when I was 17, I was an asshole.
I'm still an asshole.
Me too! You never grow out of that.
No.
But it's realistic.
Yes.
They didn't try to make them like goody two-shoes kids. They made them like a bunch of fucking assholes going out there trying to save the world. You have to depend on these guys. I actually got a kick out of that.
Like, they each had problems. They weren't like squeaky clean kids.
Yeah.
Like, 90% of this movie, though, it's what got to me, was that you spend it pre-morphing. Like, all of it is just them as themselves. No Power Ranger suits, no nothing. It's just them. Like, the last, like, maybe, like, 20 minutes of the movie is, like, if you're really interested in seeing Power Rangers, the last 20 minutes are going to be awesome. But getting there is going to be a slog, because you're going to be sitting there watching a freaking C.W. Degrassi show for the first, like, hour and a half of this movie, and then you finally get the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Because there was, like, every character had, like, sexual tension with one of the others, except for Billy. Billy's, like, the one that's just like, I'm going to have sex with all of you. But, like, you have, like, freaking Zach and Trini, one, like, they fall down a hole, Trini lands on top of them, you're like, alright, well, clearly you guys are trying to set up that they're gonna bone at some point. And then, of course, Jason and Kimberly, until Tommy shows up in the sequel and fucks that up for Tommy, Jason.
He's totally gonna fuck that up for Jason. You know he is. Gonna be some long-haired kid coming through, looking awesome, got the Green Ranger suit, probably gonna be a villain at first, gonna get his ass whooped, and then he's gonna be one of the good guys. And he's gonna fuck things up for Jason and Kimberly. Why? Because he's Mr. Stay Your Girl. This is gonna be great. I'm waiting on that. My God, make another Power Rangers movie and make that happen.
And let's just call him the Cock Block Ranger.
And it wasn't a bad transition, though. It's just certain things that made me question, like the fact that they got into that car accident with the train. They all woke up, and they never referenced how they got there. That's never explained ever. It's just one of those weird things. Not to mention, it was Billy's mom's van. Why did she never talk about that? That makes no sense.
I think they made one reference to it in the back room, because you never see Billy's mom ever, but you just hear her voice. And I think I heard at one point she was like, "Hey, what happened to my van?"
Why are you just now coming to that
it.
conclusion?
That was it. There was nothing else
What
related to it.
man?
Okay, thanks. Bye. Mom, shut up. I'm a superhero now.
So, I'm like thinking about all the other times that Jason was wearing that bracelet.
Yeah.
I mean, they explained it why that first time, and maybe a few other times you kind of get the gist of what's probably happening, but all those other times they've been training and all that, you're trying to tell me, one, nothing happened to the anklet.
Yeah.
Ever. Didn't get damaged or broken or anything.
Nope.
Two, he didn't have a visit from a parole officer.
Nope,
I should know
ever.
this, because my brother's had these issues before.
Just outing your brother.
You can't just put on one of these bracelets and be like, it's all good, it's not beeping. No, you have to visit your parole officer. Why is this never addressed? Jason has a parole officer.
There's
He's
no
a
parole officer in
He has a parole officer.
There's no parole officers in Angel Grove.
Yeah, they all get eaten by monsters, apparently. That's what happened.
Now, speaking of the monsters, we do have to talk about those putties, because, my God, they were awesome. The level of detail they did not need to go to with those putties, I was so happy about. Like, she takes her staff, puts it in the ground, and just drags it across the ground, and the putties come out. Whenever they come out, you can see that they're pieces of asphalt. They have road signs attached to them, pieces of car, like things that were just there on the ground. You could see that they were just made out of.
And that's very creative.
I was like, holy shit! You did not need to like attach road signs to these things, like to show that they were clearly made out of the road. But it was a very nice level of detail that I was not expecting from this movie.
Yeah, that was the thing that happened. We got detail. We got drama. We got action. I have to put it like that because it was subtle. It wasn't the martial arts fling that I secretly hoped it was. Because my attitude, I was going in there like, you know how, remember all the kids who were like, we know martial arts already. So I'm thinking these kids are going to train and like, you're going to get to see them start doing flying kicks and rolling attacks and shit like that. So you can. And we didn't get none of that. We got a bunch of kids haphazardly getting their asses kicked. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they have such a short time to do all that training. Yeah. There's no way they're going to get all this stuff together. You see them going to school, they got bruises, they got black eyes. They're like, man, I got fucked up by that buddy. Remember that thing he did to my genitals? Y'all remember that?
Yeah,
I remember, I was there.
Yeah, you got fucked up.
Yeah, remember those two buddies where they had you both on one end and the other, and they were just railing you two back and forth? You remember that? And everybody
That's a dark turn for that movie.
Everybody starts looking at him.
You watching?
Everybody starts looking at that one guy comes up with that. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Nothing. Let's get back to work.
Something I saw on the internet.
Okay.
God.
In some nation, I honestly had my expectations very low.
Yeah.
This raised them about halfway. Is it bad? I'll be honest with you, no. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing. Let me explain. It's good because, one, I didn't waste the money that I got to get my ass in the seat. Because you never want to have that wasted investment.
Right.
But it's not bad in the instance that I really was hoping it was really bad. And I could just rip into this movie because I love cheese.
Yes.
I mean, my God. We did our swamp. We got that Swamp Thing review. I was in heaven.
Yes.
But it wasn't bad enough to get to that point. But overall, it was still fairly entertaining. I'll probably get the Blu-ray just because, one, I'm a glutton for punishment, and two, I actually did kind of enjoy it.
Yes.
It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was good, but it wasn't as bad as I thought, so it was disappointing.
It was better than the 1995 one.
Oh my God. Your thoughts on that?
I actually really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I really, like, I was getting a little, it's very slow in the middle, I had to say, because, like, it's just all about them, like, becoming a team, and yeah, I get you have to show that sometimes, but that's not what we were here for. We're here to see the freaking Power Rangers just beat shit up, and you get that, but yeah, it took a while, and once you get it, I was really happy with it. The Zords looked pretty awesome. The Megazord looked amazing.
He looked like. My only problem was there's no way he looked like you came together based off of parts.
No,
impossible. At least with the Power Rangers day in the old show, you look at it and tell, okay, I see how they made that.
Yeah, the right leg is there, the left leg.
Yeah, they had a whole Voltron thing where it made sense, but in this it was literally like they just kind of melted together and made a kind of like humanoid thing.
Yeah,
that was weird. That was also kind of a bit of a turn off, but the fight was
looked awesome. Yeah,
the fight was kind of cool though.
Yeah,
so.
Like Goldar looked pretty awesome. It wasn't as
I wanted the monkey face.
Yeah, I wanted the monkey face.
Give me the monkey face.
It looked exactly like the destroyer from Thor.
Actually, yeah,
it looked like a big gold destroyer from Thor. Like that's what he looked like. And I thought he was all right, but yeah, I wanted the monkey face. I wanted him to have the cheesy lines. I wanted to have Rita voice.
You gotta go my Rangers, and I'm
but
that's asking too much.
Yeah,
like
I mean, this movie gave us enough references to the old show and made some things newer, and it was very entertaining.
Yeah, he even had a cameo from two of the original Rangers. That was a pleasure to watch. Just them standing there. It's like, oh my God, I know who they are. They are Rangers.
And it's like they focused on them for a second and then took away, and it was like, oh cool, it was them. And then they went back to them. It was like, oh shit, you again.
Yeah.
It was like, no, we're not done with y'all.
It was the best. Yes. And overall, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
I have to give this movie a pretty good score, but we don't have a scoring system, so we're not doing that. We should have a scoring system.
All right. If we were to give this a score out of what, 10?
Yeah, I'll say out of 10. Easily, I'd say a 7.
All right.
To me, that means it's not blowing my mind like some movies I've watched, but it's at the same time there was enough references. Yeah. There was a fair amount of humor. The action, albeit low-ended, was actually pretty good, and it made sense for the way they did the story. Mm-hmm. While it's not great, you'll get some enjoyment out of it. I actually had a good time.
Yeah.
But then again, that's not saying much because I like shit that doesn't make sense to like. You do too.
Yes.
You know? The art of bad taste. Remember we talked about this?
Yes.
But
that's what makes us reviewers.
Yeah.
You have to like bad things sometimes to appreciate the good.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. I actually think I'd probably score it about. I think I'd probably say about the same. Yeah, 7 would work for me too.
Yeah, it's better than average, but it's not like over the top.
If you were a fan of the original Power Rangers, you're gonna really get a big kick out of this.
Yeah,
if you're not, or you haven't seen anything Power Rangers related, I don't know how what rock you've been under, but if you've never seen anything Power Rangers, you might have fun with it, but you might just be like, this was an average.
Yeah, it was an average action film with a bunch of CGs, popcorn film that was stupid.
It's Transformers.
Except not as blatantly insulting.
It's a bit blatantly insulted Transformers.
Yeah, blatantly insulted.
With the Bumblebee car reference.
Oh, that was the best. Because I
Anyway.
saw that, I was like, yeah, that was definitely a middle finger to Michael Bay.
Yes, that was clearly a middle finger to Michael Bay and all of the Transformers movies.
You guys did a good job on that.
We're not going to spoil exactly what happened, but we'll let you see that for yourselves.
And just let you be the judge.
Yes. Was it a nice nod, or was it a middle finger? We take the latter, because we like to see the world that way.
Exactly. And we're just more pleased with the idea of everyone hating everyone else. Hatred makes the world go round. You know?
And we will end you on that. Thank you guys for joining us for this review.
Thanks a lot.
I am Dave.
And I'm Marcus.
Laters.
Later.